Hey everyone, SweetJohnnyCage here, back with another guide for Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. This time I'm going to show you where to find all of the Bahamut Arisen sanctuaries for the Divine Intels in the Cosmo Canyon region, as well as how to defeat Bahamut Arisen later on. Big tip for you when it comes to Cosmo Canyon region, getting around here can be a bit of a nightmare because it's a very vertical place, similar to Gongaga. However, in order to get around this place, you need to rely on these Chocobo launch pads. And as you get deeper into the region, especially around Sanctuaries Beta and Gamma, what I recommend doing is instead of focusing on how to find those sanctuaries, instead start traveling across any Chocobo launch pad you see and the ones that you find, and just keep exploring in those areas. And the reason I recommend doing this early on is because each of those Chocobo launch pads, or at least most of them, will act as quick travel points, and that will open up the region for you way more than just walking around will. So I cannot recommend to you enough, just keep exploring and looking for Chocobo launch pads, and then when you find one, check around it before you launch. This way you know where you're going, and if you see that there's a couple different destinations you could have, that's why there's a quick travel point. Explore the one route, and then just quick travel back to the origin, and then explore the other route. And then you will unlock the whole map a lot more quickly than you would otherwise. Okay, so as always, I'll leave it here with the voiceover. Just make sure you get these three Divine Intel shrines, and you should be okay. And then we're going to fight the boss in its weakened state in the VR simulator. So if you're looking for a particular shrine or the fight, check the timestamps and just skip ahead. So I'll see you in a bit.
One local folktale goes like this. Rejuvenated, the crimson worm gave forth a mighty roar. Thus was the very land rent in twain, and the canyon born. Truly a tale befitting a god of destruction, don't you think? According to one of the canyon's legends, Bahamut once took shelter somewhere in these lands after being severely wounded in a fierce battle. Its scarlet hue is said to represent the divine protection the earth bestowed upon it during the entity's long convalescence.
Believe it or not, Bahamut Arisen is not a very difficult boss fight, and the reason I say that is because I've played Final Fantasy VII Remake. I played the previous game in this series, which I hope you have too. You probably feel a little lost if you haven't. In fact, if you haven't, please let me know. I'm very intrigued by people who haven't and have gone into Rebirth. But anyway, the reason I bring that up is because you will have actually fought Bahamut before if you had played Remake and you fight him towards the end of that game. It's almost the exact same fight. However, there is an added mechanic here, and it's in the assess here. It says scattered particles will attach themselves to you if touched. However, using abilities drops them off. So this fight is all about switching characters throughout the entire fight, building ATB manually and using those abilities manually as quickly as possible to drop those stacks. Thruster spin is something that can be blocked while in Punisher mode with Cloud, and you will get the counter hit. So just keep that in mind. You also get a weapon much later in the game for Cloud that gives him a really strong counter move. So if you're kind of coming back to all this after you've beaten the game, feel free to use that weapon ability as well. It's especially strong here. Particle Charge is nothing to be super concerned about. The next ability, however, is. So you do have to be careful with the next ability. But if you deal enough damage during that charge up, you will be able to pressure the boss, and then you can begin using abilities that just continue to build pressure. You do have to be kind of quick about it. As you saw there, I wasn't able to build anything because Cloud had gotten knocked back. Whirlwind Slash, again, you can block it in Punisher mode, and then you should be able to get a counter off on it. The boss does become pressured after using it most of the time, so it's a good idea if you're using the same party combination that I am with Cloud, Barret, and Red 13. Switch over to Barret, use Focus Shot. It'll spend all the ATB he has built up and deal a ton of pressure damage. So it's a really good idea to do that. Soaring Slash, pretty easy to avoid. The boss basically just does a front flip and slams down, but shouldn't have too much difficulty in dodging that. He's charging up again, but luckily Cloud builds ATB pretty quick. You can see here that I have a particle on Cloud, but watch it go away when I use an ability. So I'm going to cast Haste here, and then now everybody is building ATB a lot faster. Cloud still has that particle on him, but when I go to use an ATB ability, it should drop off. Changing over to Vengeance Stance with Red 13 while a boss is stunned is a really good idea. You get, if you're using Siphon Fang, you can build health back up with him basically for free while dealing damage, and several of his abilities deal more damage while in that mode. So keep that in mind, kind of like Cloud. Okay, so at this stage, you should see some reticles or crosshairs show up on Bahamut's wings, and then he will begin using Particle Charge. At this point, you want to do your best to either use abilities that hit multiple parts of a boss, such as Triple Slash, or just focus on his wings as best you can. You don't get a lot of time to do this, so as soon as you see those crosshairs pop up, those red circles, that's when you want to use it. If you don't destroy them quick enough, he will go into Neo Drive mode, and then he'll begin using these sort of like Gundam abilities that you see here. Homing Barrage is a big one. Basically, his talons turn into giant bird knives, which is pretty crazy. Grim Upheaval always goes back into Celestial Slash. Really tough thing to avoid. It comes out so fast, but if you do manage to avoid it, you can follow up right away on the boss and begin dealing more damage. Use any synergy abilities you have that build the limit level or increase the limit level. The reason you want to do this is because when the boss is pressured, you don't have very long to do anything about it. So you want to try to save your limit breaks for those moments. As you can see here, I'm just doing my best to build pressure as much as possible. I am able to cast United Refocus. This is a good idea to do with as many party members as you can. If you've never used this before, it basically allows the ATB bar to split into 3. This allows you to use 2 ATB abilities faster, and then you also have an extra stock and can just continue to build ATB faster. It's very effective. Umbral Bombardment, this is something that I've never been able to dodge, even back in Remake. I recommend just blocking. I always attempt to dodge it, but I know it's never going to work. I'm just kind of built that way, and I'm just so hard-headed, but just block Umbral Barrage, and you'll have a much easier time with it. So this, as you can see here, this is why having the 3 ATB is really effective, because I'm able to build the rest of this pressure meter without having to spend too much ATB. So I'm going to use Focus Shot. It's going to use all 3 bars, but it's going to guarantee a stun here, no matter where Bahamut is in his charge up or what he's doing. It's always going to hit. It's a hit scan ability. Howling Moon is really strong here. This limit break does so much damage, and if you have saved your limits up until this point, you can just combine them, and this is going to do a ton of damage after Ascension is finished, and then we can go ahead and spend Maximum Fury, all 3 ATBs with Barret. It's going to also chip away at the boss, and then a couple of Siphon Fangs will get rid of the boss, and then we're done. And that's it. That's Bahamut. It goes by pretty quick once you get the boss staggered at least once, But once he goes down, you get the summon, and you're done with the region. But that's it. All right, if you have any questions, please feel free to leave a comment. I'll do my best to help you out. If you're looking for more guides for Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, please subscribe to the channel so you get alerted when new guides go live. If you're interested in supporting the channel monetarily, please consider becoming a channel member by clicking the join button below this video. You can also leave a super thanks by clicking the heart icon below this video. Don't forget to join the community Discord. The link for that is in the description below. As always, I'm SweetJohnnyCage. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.